slow. I chose to end it there, but if you were going to use it as a warm-up, or you could use it to develop your speed and dexterity when you get to the diminished run in minor thirds. You just start again. So that's how you'd cycle. You can use that as a useful exercise. Okay guys, here's the tutorial for what I just played. So we're down here, we're starting off on the G string on the 14th fret. We're going to hit that, pluck it, and then hammer on to fret 17. So this is done on a hammer. You could pick it, but for the way I played it, and kind of more in the style of Nuno, I hammered it. We then string skip over to 12 and 17 with the hammer on again. And then back up with the little finger I use to the 17th on fret G. So that's your first phrase. Or you could use your third finger. Just keep the finger similar, whether you could do 1 and 3 or 1 and 4. These are all movable shapes, by the way, so please take them and use them in your own sequence and your own playing. And if you're new to it, just get used to that first phrase. Nice and slowly. And we go back a semitone. We're doing 13 to 16 here on the G string. So this first part really takes place just between the G and the high E string. So I'm going to 12 and 16. So your first two shapes, and the only two shapes in this section. And if you're new to this, just practice that. Just get used to those two little shapes. And I'm taking those two shapes and I'm playing them again. So the first, so that's the same as the first shape we just did. Back semitone, play the next shape. So that's here on the 11th, hammer on to 14, on to 10 on the high E, and back up. So that first little section really consists of two shapes, okay? Shape 1, shape 2, shape 1, shape 2. I'm keeping when I played it in the performance, I had quite a lot of distortion on, well, not loads, but enough to make it a little bit more Nuno. So I was keeping my palm muting with this on in parts, not all of it, because it sounds nice when it rings out. I was applying it more on the diminished runs, which is what we're going on to next. So what we've got here is one diminished shape, and we're just literally moving it in minor thirds around the fretboard, but it's all just one shape. So in this whole exercise, you've got 1, 2, 3 shapes only. You're just jumping around the fretboard with it. It's not as hard as you might think. So here's our next shape. Starting here on G string again, the whole exercise takes place just on the G and the high E string. We're going to hit, as usual, hammer on. In this case, we're hammering it onto the G string on the 13th fret. And we're doing exactly the same thing on the high E. So we're doing 10 to 13. And back up to the G on 13th, so that whole shape. Okay, we're then going to go back to fret 7, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Back to fret 4. At this point, you don't have to, but I used a little finger because the frets are getting a bit wider. I just find this is more comfortable. Exact same thing, we're just rooting it now on the 4th fret. And again, back to fret 1, we're doing exactly the same thing. Again, I'm using my little finger here just because of the stretch. And then we're simply going to just walk back up in minor thirds. So back up to the 4th. And so the difference really between the first section is each of the arpeggios are played twice. In the diminished section, they're only played once. I go back up to fret 7, and I switch back to my 3rd finger. Again, if you want to use your little finger, you can. Back up to 10th fret. And then we're going to jump up again into fret 13, 13 to 16. Now, in the video, I finished the exercise here with the A. I just did an A power chord. So index finger holding the A on fret 12, 3rd finger holding down the D on fret 14, hit that, and do another A power chord here, this time rooted on the low string, which is the 5th fret, and then 3rd finger grabbing the A string on the 7th fret. And I did an open A5 chord here, barring D and G on fret 2 and hitting the 3 up. And I added this little extension, which I'm barring with my little finger, the high E on fret 5 and the B on fret 5. Now, when I was practicing this, I would use it as a warm-up when we get to this point of the diminished, so I just start the exercise again because it brings us right back to the start. So this is a nice way to loop it. So we do a diminished one. There we go, we start again. And if you just loop this, it's a really great exercise. The benefits of this, by the way, is it's working on your legato with the hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's synchronizing the left and right hand, and it's getting used to string skipping arpeggios as opposed to just only being able to sweep. Okay, so it's another approach to arpeggios which Nuno does amazingly, but he's not the only one. So take these shapes, use them, make your own sequences, your own progressions, and get them into your playing. But start with this. It's a good way of introducing these new shapes into your playing. And if you're new to it, it's quite challenging, but just do it slow. Don't worry about the speed. Just get the shapes down. But you will find it's very beneficial for finger independence and coordination. That's why I recommend it to my students. See you soon. I've got a bunch more of exercises that have helped me out over the years, and I'm going to be uploading them just for your benefit. These ones have helped me out. They help my students out, so hopefully they'll help you out too. Take care, and I'll see you soon.